If there's anything that Chris Webber should get credit for in his basketball career, it's putting the Sacramento Kings on the map. If we're talking literally, the only reason that I knew that Sacramento was the capital of California was because of how much we watched the Kings play on TV in the early 2000s. All my fellow basketball fans know how much watching the NBA has helped us in our geography/social studies classes. But from a basketball sense, Chris Webber was responsible for not only making the Kings relevant, but for making them the most fun team to watch during that time. It wasn't rare to see a high number of sensational no-look and behind-the-back passes that led to some thrilling finishes at the rim. There weren't many teams during that time that ran the floor and passed the ball the way they did, and that played a key part in the Kings averaging the highest points per game average for the first 3 years that Webber played in Sacramento. This is how he described their style of play for Sports Illustrated in 2001. Quote, "We played the game the way it was meant to be played, running the floor, looking for easy baskets, trying to attack, and keep a defense on its heels. Traditional basketball isn't the slow down game you see some teams play, when you walk the ball up and call a play every time. It's running the break, the way the Celtics did with Bob Cousy and Bill Russell. It's not so much that we're doing anything new, we're just doing things the rest of the league has gone away from." End of quote. I don't want to make it sound like I'm giving all the credit to him, because the Kings featured a wide variety of players that had the ability to create for themselves and for their teammates. However, it did give them a tremendous advantage that their 6'10" power forward could run the floor, pass the ball, and handle the ball as if he were a point guard. He was arguably the most versatile player in the league, and the numbers indicate that he was one of the best players. Here's the truth of that era. Some of the best power forwards ever were either right in their primes like Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, and Rasheed Wallace, or starting to peak like Dirk Nowitzki and Jermaine O'Neal, or were at the tail end of their prime like Karl Malone. Let's look at the numbers of Chris Webber compared to his contemporaries from 1999 to 2004. Is it me, or is that strikingly similar to some of the players that are in the pantheon of greats? The best example of his greatness came in the 2000/01 season, the best year of his career. He averaged 27.1 points on 48% shooting, 11.1 rebounds, and 4.2 assists. He is currently one of 10 players to average at least 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists for a season. Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, Elgin Baylor, Oscar Robertson, Bob McAdoo, Giannis, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and DeMarcus Cousins are the other players to average those numbers. However, it should be noted that Webber was the first and only player to average those numbers since the start of the NBA/ABA merger and before the start of the scoring boom of the late 2010s. Notice that the other great power forwards like Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Karl Malone, and Charles Barkley never put up those numbers. This was also the year where he recorded a career high in points and rebounds against the Indiana Pacers in a thrilling overtime defeat. He had 51 points on 51% shooting, 26 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. He is currently one of 3 players to record over 50 points and 25 rebounds in a game. Wilt Chamberlain and Elvin Hayes are the only other players to accomplish that feat. In the end, they had their first 50-win season in 36 years, and they had their first winning season in 18 years. It's no wonder that he finished in the top 5 in MVP voting, and a top 3 finish was well within his grasp. Here's another argument for Webber. Before his first season with the Sacramento Kings in 1999, the Kings had a record of 27-55. The following season, they were 27-23 and were the 7th seed in the Western Conference during that lockout season. The Washington Wizards, the team that traded him, went from a 42-40 record with Webber to 18-32 without him. Now check out this next interesting stat. From 2001 to 2004, the Kings won over 55 games each season, including an NBA best 61-21 record in the 2001/02 season. For those who were born in the 21st century, this might sound crazy, but the Sacramento Kings were a powerhouse in the NBA for years. Now, as great as his numbers were in the regular season, it's fair to say that he rarely elevated his play in the postseason. There were a good number of times where he did not shoot efficiently when the Kings were in a must-win situation. And there were times when it seemed like he would take himself out of the offense during critical moments of the game. But I will say this one final thing in the defense of C. Webb. Ever since he led the Sacramento Kings in 2005, they've made the postseason a grand total of 1 time. That came in the following season. So we're talking about a 16-year playoff drought until the Kings finally made the playoffs this year. So everywhere he went, his teams got better. And every time he left, the teams ended up betting their future on some ping pong balls. We're talking about one of the most versatile and talented players of his position that was nearly good enough to lead a team to a title. It's time to put some respect on his name.